Thank you for the fine introduction, Mr. Ward. My name is Wardy Ward, and I'm one of your tour guides in this important episode of What's Up with Ward, the podcast. I come from the good hood where we give it good and get it good. I just want to give a shout out to my co-host in the building, Miss Tiki the Talker. What's good with you?
Hey, Wardy Ward, trying to keep my head above water, my feet on the ground as usual. What's good with you?
Oh, I can't complain because actually I tried 3 times, but nobody listened.
Wonder why. Well, with that being said, our motto on the show is everybody has a story to tell. We just want to know what's yours.
Our in-studio guest today certainly fits this criteria. This classic man is a comedian, producer, community activist who left a good job in the city, who has 20 years plus in the game of making people laugh. Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Donald for show. To the show. How you doing, brother?
Man, first of all, I want to say I'm doing great. I want to say thank you guys for the opportunity to tell my story. So I'm doing well. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Glad to have you here. And we do want to tell everybody how you found this man. He put an advertisement on Facebook that says somebody need to put me on a podcast.
I did. I got a story. I got to be my biggest promoter. Like who promotes you better than you? Like I'm not one to promote me. I'm gonna promote me. I'm my number one fan. I'm my biggest cheerleader. So I said that, and then somebody reached out to you, and here we are, April 1st, April Fool's Day.
Right, doing the thing. So for sure, tell us in your own words, who is the man we about to interview? Like, who your peoples, where you're from, and what size shoe you wear for the ladies?
For the ladies, I wear size 18. No, I'm just playing. But it's close enough. 14. I'm a 14.
Okay.
But I'm born in Chicago, but raised in Flint, Michigan, and also Indianapolis. So, man, I'm a very energetic, very positive, provoking, thinking person. I see the good in everybody. So that's who I am. And I love life. I love people, and I love to make people laugh. I love to make people think. I love to make people, not the ladies. The ladies, I don't love to make you cry, but you will cry if you with me. But that's a whole other story. But that's who you get.
Yeah. So you said you're from Flint. So
Flintstone, Bear Rock.
Man, so you the one that caused that water problem up there. Okay, I see what's happening.
So the water's been like that for 30 plus years. It just, a lot of people start because political reasons. As a matter of fact, in 2016 and 2018, I did a water drive. I drove the first time we had over about 3,500 cases of water that we drove to Flint, and then we did it in 2018 as well. So it's a little bit better because I got a lot of family there. It's a little bit better, but we still got water issues.
Okay, good. I'm glad people are doing that stuff to help out because everything helps. Before we go on, you look like you can sing a little bit. Can you sing?
Nah, man, that's what everybody say. I grew up in church. The deacons.
Okay.
Jesus is on the main line.
I knew it. I knew you had it in you. I knew it. Okay.
I grew up Baptist, so you gotta have that like that.
I can go deeper than you though, Donald. I ain't bragging.
You can go deeper than me.
I'm kind of bragging.
I can go deeper than you. Go deeper. Let me hear you go deeper.
Okay. Wade in the water. How was that?
That was deep. That was deep. That was so deep. That was woke. You woke.
I'm about to check for Adam's apple right now.
Yeah. You know what? I was gonna let you say that, Wardy Ward, because I was like, I found out that you can do DNA on the hair now. From what is that show called? Law and Order SUV. What is it called? SUV.
What up,
So so I did that one time. I got the DNA from a string of hair, and I found out she was a stallion. But You know, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
I think
that's not me. That's not me. I'm seriously regretting showing off.
yeah,
Ah, I
yeah,
see. I see.
yeah,
That's all right. Teaching and talking. That was very impressive.
yeah. Well, her hair real, so you get to avoid that one. So okay,
Oh, that's good. Ah, that's a plus.
yeah. All right. First question I got up is so why comedy? Why did you choose this field?
Because I come from a long line of comedians, as far as house comedians. My grandma, well, my great grandfather was hilarious. Down in Canton, Mississippi, people used to come over to his house. Uncle Papa Barney, he was very funny. Then my grandmother, which is the original Maria, like before there was the Tyler Perry Maria, my grandma Maria, she carried a 38 because she grew up, she raised part of us in Flint. And then my mom is hilarious. Um, my uncles was hilarious. And so people would come over to our house like on Saturdays just to hear the whole family sit around talking. And so what I do is my comedy is I'm embodied all my ancestors and they I represented them on stage. Everything I talk about is really coming from them. And so comedy, it was bred in me. Like I can't I used to be a class clown, so I had to do it. And so I just tried it, and I've been successful ever since. Still learning.
Mhm. That's good. Who would you say you're like I know like there are some comedians talk about issues, politics, people like Corey Holcomb, he goes after people a lot.
Oh
What is
wow, yeah, he does.
what is your style? What do you do?
So my style is growing up with a single parent, single mom, growing up in church, relationships, raising children, dating. I just talk about everything. I talk about things that people it's relatable to everyone. So I talk about and so they kind of call me like the Bernie Mac of clean comedy because that's what I do. I do clean comedy. But Bernie Mac is one of my favorite. Well, he's probably my favorite comedian. Him and Sinbad as well. But so that's the type of comedy I talk about situations. I try to stay away from politics much as I can because that's a touchy subject. Because a lot of my audience is just not African American, but they are European descent. So I talk about a little bit of everything.
That's actually what I was going to ask you if there were any like taboo topics that you just steer clear from. So just mainly
Uh,
politics.
Politics, I stay away from. I stay away from like gender preferences and stuff like that. I don't bash nobody for whether I agree or not. I stay away from that. I stay away from like racial jokes to the fact of like I do comparison between us and them, but not in the sense of offending us, because sometimes we can offend us as well and make us dumb down who we really are. But then I don't,
Mm,
I don't, I don't, I don't offend them as well as far as making it seem like they're ignorant or not, they don't
mhm,
understand what's going on in life. So
so
you can't go wrong with relationship. Everybody has relationship problems. Everybody has or success. Everyone that raised children. Uh, everyone you can talk about parenting. Like these are things that you can say in any crowd. That's how I look
Okay, I see what's happening. Now I know a lot of times other comedians can get inspired by other comedians. You said you like Sinbad and Bernie Mac, and I like those too. Actually, no Sinbad. But what would you say is do other comedians make you go to another level? I guess, like you mentioned those people. Have you ever saw something like, you know what, man, that dude, I like how he did that. I can want to step my game up. Or do you feel you're kind of in your lane already?
at. Well, in the comedy, there's always progression. So I study comedy. I study
Mhm.
all types of comedy. And so I know as I like, for instance, I'm 21 years in the game. So
Okay.
21 years, 2 decades. So in the comedy game, just like in regular life, I'm an adult now in comedy. So I now my I can see the difference in my performance, in my presentation of the comedy. So I'm always looking to take it up to another level. So there's not one particular one that inspires me to do that. Comedy, she 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 inspires me to do that because she's a she. She's my girlfriend.
Hmm.
She does
I
me
like that
well. She
comparison.
listens to me,
Yeah.
and I listen to her. You know, so we got a great relationship. That's
Mhm.
not the only one, but that's all I need right now.
I have a question. So when you're doing
Sure.
a show, because you do stand-up comedy, that's your thing, that's your main thing, right? Is stand-up
Uh-huh.
comedy. So how do you get how do you keep your material fresh? Do you, or do you, you know what, before you ask that, do you practice before a show, or you just get on the stage and you just draw from whatever the vibe or whatever that's going on there? Do you do a little bit of both? You go on with your own material and then add to it, or how do you do that?
That's a great question. So I do a lot of writing, but then I keep up on what's trending now. But what I normally do too is like with 22 decades in, I probably have 5 hours worth of material. I have jokes that
Mm.
I have yet to even uh, perform yet. So
You
normally
said
what I
five
do is
hours.
I got about
Oh,
5 hours worth of material.
You store that?
wow.
Where's he store?
You say
Wow.
what?
She
Yeah,
said, where you
Where you
well,
store
like I
that?
store
said,
that? Where you store 5 hours of
uh,
jokes in?
I mean I got notebooks everywhere. I got
Okay.
notebooks. I mean, so I got notebooks everywhere. And so I looked at a YouTube that I did like 5, 6 years ago, and I did jokes. I was like, oh, I forgot I had them jokes. Like the whole set, that whole
Yeah.
set that I did 6 years ago. I'm like, ooh, and that was 45 minutes, and I haven't done that set since then. So now I'm going back and like, oh, that's another 45 minutes. Plus, I already got 45 minutes, and then I got an oh, I got so and then as you evolve, and so what I normally do is I go into a crowd before I get up. So say the show starts at 7:30 or whatever. Like I do a lot of family reunions and things like that. So I go be amongst the crowd, see what they're talking about, see what's going on. So like for instance, if I do somebody's birthday party, I need to know what their favorite color is. I need to tell me a story when they was a child. I need to know if it's what kind of relationship they have. How did they meet? If they husband and wife, how did they meet? I want to know everything about them. So then I put all of that into my jokes. So I don't just get up and tell jokes. I personalize the jokes for whoever I'm in front of
Mm, okay.
because you
Yeah.
have to.
Yeah.
You have
That
to.
makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's
Um,
not just general jokes. It's like, but I can come up with some like life itself will cause you to have so many jokes. So
mhm.
I write them down, or I record them, or I try them on my podcast. Like that stallion joke was a new joke. So now I'm gonna build on. Now I'm gonna build on that joke because I
Yeah.
live in Atlanta as well as Indianapolis. So first thing they said when you go to Atlanta, check the Adams out. Well,
Yeah.
so I worked on that joke, but now I'm about to build on that joke.
Hmm.
So that'll add another 15, 20 minutes to a joke. So I'm
Hmm.
about 5 hours in.
Man, that's a lot. That's enough for a nice little special when you go on
Oh yeah, I
Netflix.
got a special coming. A special
Okay.
coming. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of time. This
Mhm.
podcast gonna get me there.
That's what it is. It's okay. We
Yeah,
glad to be a
Ward
part
Ward
of it.
and what is it? Tiki the
Yeah.
Talker?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
We're gonna take
yeah.
you there.
So that's a
Now
great
you
question, but that's what I normally do. I'm a student of the game.
yeah.
So I always like I got a new character called Mr. Percy. It's my mother's boyfriend. So I'm
Hmm.
writing a whole series about that. Now I'm writing about relationship goals.
Mm.
Just stupid stuff like the relationship goals, like we'll be good together, but you won't steal for me. So I'm writing.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
constantly writing,
Yeah.
and so
So
that's
I
that's a
got you.
whole nother series.
Yeah. I want to ask two quick questions on that. Number one,
Yeah.
now you said the thing about the weave. You don't have a problem going there with women because you know everybody wearing a weave now. You okay with saying that at a comedy show?
Yeah, so you have to get them on your side first.
Okay.
So I may come up if there's a lot of women in there. I may come up, ladies, make some noise. Y'all beautiful queens, and get them all feeling good about themselves. And then I hit them with the weed joke
Okay.
because
Okay.
you gotta make them feel good about themselves. You got to
Right.
make them
Yeah.
fall in love with you. Once they
Mhm.
fall in love with you, you can say whatever you want to say.
Got you.
Ain't
Yeah.
that right, Tiki the Talker?
That is right, Donald. For
Yeah.
sure. That is for sure.
Yeah. I
My
think a
mama
lot of
taught me
times,
well.
that's right. I think a lot of times when you come out the audience, you have to read the room. I think you described as that's what you do, because I think in a white venues, they probably want to get right to the joke. But the African
Yes,
Americans, they want to be, y'all looking good tonight, or how y'all feeling, or makes it, I think you got to go from there. So how do you
Listen,
go
because
about that?
because so I took that's the thing. That's a good way to say because I took writing class. I took a comedy class for white people.
Mm,
So it helped me out a lot because African Americans, we are detailed. We want to know what's in the room. There was a left in the left corner. There was there was a couch sitting on there. There was three people sitting on the couch. We want the order of everything.
mm,
My white people, they're more punchline. Boom, just say it and move on to the next joke.
mm,
So, and then two, most of your white crowds, you're not going to talk about beating kids. You're not going to talk about beating kids. But if you were the African American crowd, it depends on the age of the crowd. Is if they like 40s plus, 50 plus, you talk about whoopies, beaties, and killings.
mm,
Oh, they love that.
yeah, yeah,
Not with the white crowd. They're gonna be like, oh, that's child abuse. So
you're right.
you stay away from that. But we can all relate on parenting.
Mm,
We can white kids and African American kids, we got some of the same struggles. So knowing your crowd, I got to stay away from that. But I could talk about this. I could talk about the difference between church between African Americans and whites. I
mhm,
could talk about the difference in how we look at things, whatever it is,
mhm.
and move from there.
Okay. Now, before we got on air, Tiki and I were talking about hecklers, and she had a question. Go ahead and ask me your question about the hecklers.
Yeah. How do you deal with them?
Well, I'm normally not a cusser, but I cuss them out. No, I'm just playing. No, so see, I never really had a heckler before, but I had, somebody maybe say something while I'm talking. So I bring them into my jokes. I
Mm.
bring them in. Like now you want to be on stage. Now I'm about to put you on stage. So hey, so what was you saying? You were saying what? Ah, yeah, you not funny or something like that. So I'll bring them in and have everybody zoom in on them. On like, yeah,
Mhm,
let the professional do that. Because
mhm,
J. Anthony Brown told us this. I used to work with J. Anthony Brown. He said the two hardest things to do in life is to hit a baseball and to tell jokes. And you think about it, to hit a baseball, you can hit 3 out of 10 and you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And in comedy, it's objective. So I could tell a joke that are killing in Indiana, but when I go down to Georgia, it's not funny. And so you gotta learn how to work that joke to how it works in Georgia.
Yeah.
And it's studying.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Because I remember back in college, I used to be a DJ. I was DJ at Indiana University and University of Notre Dame, and everybody liked different music. I thought I was
Yeah,
killing it, but people on the East Coast, they wanted that, that fast stuff, that DOS effect and all that
yeah,
stuff back in the days. And East Coast, West Coast wanted E40 and all that. I was like, wait a
yeah.
minute. So you're right. You have to
And then
know your audience. House
Chicago is
music.
house music. Like
Yeah.
you gotta like it don't even matter if you ain't playing no house music.
Yeah.
Uh,
You ain't doing
I
that.
don't care how. I don't care. But you gotta, like I said, you gotta know where you at, and you gotta study. Like I try to study the city that I'm in. Try to figure out what the hood's at. Try to figure out what's the famous place to get something to eat. Even if I don't go get something to eat there, like in South Bend, Frankie's, the barbecue
Man,
place.
you already
Yeah,
know.
and because there's nothing to do in South Bend but Frankie's, as far as I'm concerned. There's
Yeah.
nothing to do in South Bend. But
Frankie's fell off on the low, but that's between me and you.
yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, they tried to bring it down to Indianapolis, but that's
Didn't work.
What is
so.
Didn't work.
With
Frankie's? What is Frankie's? It's a
uh,
hot dog joint.
Oh my God.
Barbecue.
She from Ohio.
Barbecue.
She
What
from
part of
Frank's,
Ohio.
Ohio you from?
Frankie's,
What part of Ohio are you from?
Columbus.
So you're a Wolverine fan, I see.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm from Flint, so you got to be a Wolverine fan.
Mhm.
We can be
Yeah,
frenemies.
but so yeah, so that's how I handle. I really never had any hecklers yet. It's a possibility. Maybe one of my exes or my mama, she may heckle me, but
Oh
that's
yeah. Oh yeah. They definitely gonna be in the back with rollers and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You ain't funny at all. Yeah. So, but that's how I deal with it.
I was at a show one time when Joe Torre was doing it, and a heckler was saying something to him. And he came out, he had some brown leather pants, and the dude said, "You need to go somewhere with them fake leather pants on." And he said,
Yeah.
"Excuse me, would you say my pants fake?" And he was like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I can prove they're real." He said, "How?" He said, "Because I was at the shop when they stripped the cows, stripped your mama's back or something off the cow or something." He said like that. And I was
Right,
like,
right, right.
wow, because I was sitting right
Yeah,
beside the dude, so I got him. I was like, leave, because I knew what that meant. He was about to go for that whole row. So I'm
yeah.
glad you didn't have it, because nowadays it seems like a heckler do more than a heckler. They want to fight now. So how do you stay in shape for that?
Man, I bring my boxing gloves
Okay, okay,
on my set. I be
yeah,
having boxing gloves while I'm doing my set.
yeah,
Matter of
you
fact,
gotta
that's
be
a
ready.
new joke. I'm gonna come in with some boxing gloves on, just in case.
Put the hecklers
Just
up
in
front.
case. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just in case. So yeah, that's really going on. Like because we live in a day and age where everybody's sensitive. Like if you go back to like the old sitcoms, what's it, All in the Family, all that, they used to say the N word,
Yeah, yeah.
and they used to be very racial. Like it
Yep.
was it was just a different world. But now everything has to be politically correct. So the comedy world or the comedians are kind of stifled and what they can really say, what you can't say. That's why I say, as a clean comedian, I stay away from certain things. Even when it comes to doing church, even when you come to doing churches, I have to be careful because everyone has different doctrine. So I
Hmm.
got to be careful what doctrine I talk about because if you say certain things in certain places, they're gonna automatically turn you off. Like, yeah, you're not funny because
Yeah,
they was offended.
yeah.
Like,
And I'm sorry, you were right on that. On those old TV shows, I was watching the Jeffersons clip the other day where George Jefferson had went to a KKK meeting and didn't know it, and he was talking, and they was trying to kick him out, and the head KKK dude had fell out, had a heart attack, and George ran to and gave him CPR, saved his life,
Yeah,
and the dude
yeah.
looked at him and said, "You should let me die." I was like, "Wow." So you're right. You have to be sensitive with that. With the
what's it like? Okay, I don't even know if you can say this on the show now, but I'm super curious. What kind of like joke, like a religious joke or whatever, would you just steer clear from that would be offensive? What do you know you cannot say?
He just said he don't do
Uh,
those jokes. Dang. She gonna make
But
you
I
tell
just
a
didn't know
joke.
he's not in front of the crowd or anything. I just thought maybe he could share, but
uh,
I don't want to get you in trouble.
um, no, no, no. So some doctrines don't speak in tongues. So I got a joke about typing in tongues. So
What?
I,
You typing in tongue?
church is online now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah,
So you get happy,
yeah. Hopefully you
and
gotta type
so
that out.
you type it in tongues because you type it in
Wow.
tongues because you caught the Holy Ghost.
Wow.
Instead of speaking in tongues,
Yeah,
you
just
type it in tongues.
okay.
Aren't you
Yeah.
glad I asked, Ward?
Yeah, definitely
See?
now. So you just gotta hit
Oh,
a whole bunch of letters. Just hit them, and
yeah,
that's how you know.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. So so
so
so the dog following the
so I say,
computer.
yeah, yeah. So I don't say that them jokes in I have to be careful because sometimes I can say it in places where they do speak in tongues, but sometimes I can't say it there neither because they take offense to it. But then I definitely don't say it into places that don't speak in tongues. So that's the kind of joke that because it's doctrinal. Some believe, you baptize in the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Some believe you baptize in Jesus' name. However, so that's what I try to stay away from. But that's knowing my crowd and educating myself on that particular church. So like even religious, I try to get a pamphlet of what they believe in. What do you believe in? Send me that because I need to know. Then I know, okay, that joke will work. That joke won't work. Or let me add a new joke. Let me come up with a new joke for that. So on and so on. I hope that answers your question.
Definitely. I was curious, because sometimes just don't, you ain't got to care. You just got to go out there and say what you got to say. Because a lot of people have stuck to that. Like, I think Cat Williams, I don't think he care what nobody think. And,
Yeah,
Corey
he
Holcomb,
doesn't.
though. Yeah.
Corey Holcomb is a different breed. Like he's not about that Hollywood life. Like because you got to be politically correct to make it nowadays.
For
So I
sure.
think I think it's sometimes you do. It's just for me, if I feel led to do it, I will. Like I made a joke one time about praying over food that's killing us, and the first lady of the church got mad about it. But I had to say it. I was like,
Dang.
we praying. We praying over food that's killing us. That we can't pray over stuff to say bless us. Nah,
Hmm.
when I pray over my Burger King, I just be like, hey, I just thank you for the money that I got to get it. But it ain't a nourishment to my body.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna give me the nurse. It ain't gonna do nothing.
Right. Yeah. That's real,
It's
though.
gonna raise my blood pressure. That's
Hmm.
all it's gonna. And I'm gonna go to the altar tomorrow and ask him to lay hands on me, so I won't have no blood pressure no more. But I'm going to Popeyes right after church
But
Choke
because
that's
on
they
that
got the
biscuit.
strawberries. Uh,
nearly impossible though when you do comedy not to offend somebody. Right?
oh, yeah, you're gonna offend someone, but when you know your truth, I think sometimes people go out their way to offend people.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. Like, so if I'm telling my jokes, it may offend, but if I'm intentionally trying to offend you, to me, that's a problem. But you offend. I mean, I don't like everything that I say, but I am intentionally going out there. But if I go out there and I see somebody in the crowd, I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna say something that's gonna strike a nerve. That's what I have a problem with. I'm going out to tell my truth, and in my truth, everybody's not gonna like my truth, but my heart is pure of not trying to offend
Hmm. So let's talk about purposely offending somebody. We know that Will Smith allegedly slapped Chris. I say allegedly because I don't think it was real, but
you. I
he
don't think
came.
so.
Yeah, we know what that was. He came out and had his special, and he purposely tried to offend them.
Yeah.
What's your take on that situation that's over a year old now? Where you at on that?
To me, it's entertainment. That's how I look at it. So when I look at comedy, even with the Chris Rock special, he made $40 million off of it.
40
So he's well
million.
taken care. Yeah, they said about 40 million. So
Ooh, slap
I put it
me.
like this. I put it like this. If somebody paid me $40 million, I probably offend a lot of people. I got a lot to talk about. So I wouldn't care at that point. I got 40 million reasons to not care. So when I look at the situation, I just think it's all entertainment and both sides gonna make a lot of money off of it. They're just gonna make a lot of money off of
Okay.
it. The special, I watched it one time.
Hmm.
I don't need to watch it no more.
I'm like that too. I can't watch it twice. What did you think about it? Would you give it a 1 out of 10? What you give it at?
I probably gave it probably a 7.5
Mm.
uh, because I think he could have did. I think he could have done more
Hmm.
of trying to bridge the gap because America's already looking at the African American in a way there's always tension between us.
Hmm.
So I think it could have been more of, for me, let's move on.
Yeah, yeah. I,
Let's
I
move on.
I don't know if I gave it a 7.5. I guess I wasn't really impressed by it because I felt like I don't know. I guess I felt like it was nervous energy for him because normally like a lot of his other shows, he's more polished, ready to go. This one, I figured the eye was on him, so I thought maybe he just wasn't himself. So, but
I can see that. Like I said, I just think like he had some good points when he talked about his daughter and stuff like that,
mhm.
about how we raise our children. I just think too, like I said, is I feel like y'all should have had a sit down. I should have. You should have had a mediator between you guys, and y'all sat down and talked behind closed doors. It hashed it out.
Yeah, yeah,
You
you're
know.
right. You're right. Because like in prison, if something go down like that, you have to go meet with the people who run stuff, and then stuff can be
Yeah.
clear. We know how that
Yeah.
goes. So
Right.
I think it was just entertainment too, like you said. Somebody said, "Hey, just make some money, and it's your turn now." So that's what it is. Yeah.
Because if Netflix paid him 40 million, they made 400 million off of him.
You already know. You already know.
So you're making money off of the demise of two African American men beefing. But
Hmm.
that's how things work.
Right. Yeah. So I get it.
Mhm.
I want to piggyback off that point too about jokes. And you said like you had did some shows back in the days and realized forgot you had said a joke or two. Can a joke
Yeah.
be repurposed from another comedian, or can we share other people's joke, or is that a taboo?
To me, you shouldn't. But we all have general jokes like that sound similar to each other. Like I got a joke about, you hood when you use dishwasher liquid as bubble bath.
We all done
Like
that.
all done that, but comedian may say, "Man, I was taking a bath and I had to use bubble bath. What I mean, I had to use dishwasher liquid." So it sounds similar, but that's a general, like anybody can say that joke. But if it's a personal joke, something that you came up with, I stay away from unless I give you credit for, oh, for sure said XYZ. Like Michael Collier does that. Michael Collier,
Right.
he he tells other people's jokes, but he lets you know it's from other people. He got a whole CD out about telling Red Fox jokes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's pretty
So
creative too.
yeah, because it's, you're a storyteller. That's what you are. You're a storyteller. But original jokes, I stay away from. I even be like, especially if I'm on a show with somebody and they go up before me, whatever joke that they said, because even when you work with headliners, they'll tell you like major comedians, they say, well, try to stay away from these jokes because I'm gonna say them
Hmm.
tonight, whatever.
Oh, okay. So do you ever just go to comedy shows just to go, just to watch different comedians or kind of get
I
an,
do.
do
I
you?
do.
Okay.
I go try to go every night just to watch
Do you?
every
Ooh,
night. Yeah,
that
Mhm.
that
every night. I try.
that would make me want to steal somebody's joke because if you hear so
That's
how
what
do
I'm
you do that?
thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I was
No, no,
thinking, but you can
yeah,
spin
I
it.
get it. I get it. But for me, I'm very confident who I am. I'm real funny. I'm hilarious. So, but I just go to support, or I just go want to hear some good jokes, or see how they transition from one to the other. Like I don't watch comedy for entertainment. I watch it for education.
I
I have a
definitely get it.
question. Oh,
Because
go ahead, Morris.
let me say this real quick, Tiki. I'm sorry. One of my favorite comedians, Jerry Seinfeld, said he watches other comedians too, but he said for a comedian, he said they don't laugh at the jokes. They're like, oh, that was funny. Okay, I see how he did that. Well, other people falling on the floor. So
Yeah.
is that how you see it too?
Yeah, I look for transition words. How did you get from here to here? How did you talk about your mama? Now you talk about your daughter. How did you get there? Or how did you bring that joke in the beginning round to the end? Like David Arnold was one of my favorite rest of the show. That was my go-to guy. Like I feel like our life is parallel in a lot of ways. When he passed away, it broke my heart. So I,
Mm,
I watched all his stuff and I see how he was just talking about life. And that's what I
mm. But there is definitely an art to this. I can't tell a joke to save my life. So what you don't have to
do. You
second
just
that.
told one.
So ah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
So but
And
we
you
were
laughing at
watching.
your joke you told.
So we were watching this clip where he was showing me Eddie Murphy. I mean, it started out like a serious story. What was he talking about? Where like a serious story, and then
He was
he
giving
had a punchline.
three tips for making it in Hollywood. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, did he end with Will Smith?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't see it
So
coming. It's like an art. It really is. I would be
well,
laughing the
because
whole time knowing what's coming.
it's a build up. So sometimes you can have a joke and say, oh, it's like a light, like a light bulb. It pops up like, oh, say this. Oh, and then you be like, oh, that's a new joke. How can I build on that joke? So it's a comedian has the trait of a schizophrenic because we have so many different personalities. We can be high today, we'll kill a crowd, and then go through depression as soon as we get off stage. So we go through
Oh,
that. It's a we are hard to deal with because we can make everybody else laugh, but we'll go through a 3 or 4 day depression.
okay. There is definitely something to that, right? Because comedians, I was thinking of the Smokey Robinson songs, Tears of a Clown.
There was a clown, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a thing for comedians. They oftentimes battle depression. And who was the guy that played on Sinbad was in it, which show? Okay, whatever. It was Sinbad was in this, but he committed suicide. This white comedian. I think his name
Oh,
was
you talking about
Thomas.
Robin Williams?
No, she's still the white community commit suicide.
Yeah,
It was
wasn't his
Robin
name
Williams I know committed, but it was somebody else. You talking about
somebody else? And he
Yeah,
was in
I
this in a show
Kevin,
with Sinbad.
oh,
Yeah,
he was
Um,
in that show when Sinbad was like a house guest. It was called
yeah,
House Guest.
House
yeah.
Guest.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah, yeah.
show. That's the show.
And
But that's
they
a
found
thing.
him. They found him in a swimming pool or whatever. He had been on
Mm,
SNL and all that. Yeah, I can't think of his name, but yeah.
mm.
But you go through that, like you go through periods of time because your mindset is warped. You got to warp. Like for instance, my brother was murdered in 2007. So
Mm.
how we cope with it, me and my family coped with it. We was comedians. We sit in the in the funeral home cracking jokes, and people looking at us like, "How y'all do that?
Mm.
How do y'all do that?" So
That so I don't want to cut you off. Were you done? Because it
no,
was making me
no,
think
no,
something.
yeah. So that's just how we cope with. I got jokes about my brother being murdered, like in the sense of
Mm.
it's therapeutic for me.
Hmm.
So it's a tragedy, but it's a joke that I haven't said in a long time, but it's a joke that I will use probably in the near future. Like when I do my
Mm.
special, I'll use it again.
Yeah, I was thinking even because I was reading it. I hadn't finished the book, but the Will Smith book, and it was talking
Uh-huh.
about how he had got started and his family life was just chaos. It was a lot of abuse and everything. But he was the funny one. He was the one that made the jokes, and it was kind of just to diffuse that situation at home. So that's how
Yeah,
he dealt with all of that. That just making jokes, making fun of what was going on, and that's how he
yeah,
coped.
because that's how you cope. I didn't grow up with my father. When my father died, I went. When my father died in 2017, I learned everything about my father when I went to his funeral from my step brothers and sisters. Like so, and I had a show that night. I had to fly from Phoenix, fly back to Indianapolis for a show to do, and I started telling jokes about my dad's funeral that night, and people
Wow.
was laughing.
Yeah.
But it was a touchy situation, but I didn't know my father, so you know. But I made a
Mhm.
joke about it on the plane. I made a joke about my father.
Yeah. I can truly appreciate the candor of that because when you talk about real stuff, we all go through real stuff and we can really relate to it.
Yeah,
And to Tiki said, you're right. Most comedians do go through a bout of depression, and because comedians are really the truth tellers, the last truth teller in the world. You're gonna get it from the news, and you ain't gonna get it from your job. But comedians, I've never seen them come out and lie about stuff. They'd be like, "Hey, it's a real situation that just happened. Throw it out there."
and see, most comedians, once you understand the power of a comedian, well, back in the biblical times, back in the day, BC and all, they used to have what they call was they was jokers. Like so, a joker, when a king made a decree, no one can talk bad about that decree or you was gonna be beheaded. But they would bring in the joker or the jester. That's the word. They would bring in the
Court jester.
jester, the court. They would bring in the court jester, and they would tell him, make fun of this decree that the king has done, so he could see how stupid his decree is. Because once he made a decree, no one could say anything. The court gesture was the only one could make fun of the king. And
Hmm.
so they would bring him in to make fun of the king, hoping he would change that decree or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's the power of a comedian. We
Uh,
change atmosphere.
yeah. Two things on that. Number one, how do you get the job as a court jester? And number two, what's the longevity of that job? And three, anyway, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we passed.
I don't know how. That's a good question.
Yeah, you had to really be, because you, like I said, nobody else could say nothing about the king, and you back there cracking jokes. Hey, bring him up. He's funny. You had
Yeah,
him too.
yeah,
So the funny dudes didn't even make it for that job.
yeah.
All right, so let's
Yeah,
move on to the second part of our show called "Getting to Know You Rapid Fire." Again, we're talking with Donald for show Martin up in the house
yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah.
This part I loved on the show. We're just rapid fire questions. We could just ask you some things that come to mind. You just tell us the first thing come to mind. Don't get nervous about it. Just be your normal self.
Okay.
First question is, you had mentioned some people you thought were great comedians. I have my list here. I want you to give me your Mount Rushmore of comedians. Who you got?
Oh, Mount Rushmore. Oh, I gotta go Bernie Mac. I gotta go Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta put uh so Eddie Murphy, Bernie Mac. Uh, ooh, I'm a big David Arnold to me is on Mount Rushmore because I see what he can do outside of him being big. And then I had to put Dave Chappelle. My bad,
Mm-hmm.
Dave
Yep, yep.
Chappelle. Like them right there is probably, and I'm probably missing some people.
Yeah.
But Robert Harris. I mean, we can go on and
Yep.
on, but
Yep. Yeah.
oh my God,
Got it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You can
yeah.
always add some more. I'm gonna give you my quick one right quick. Then I'm gonna have Tiki give
Okay,
her Mount Rushmore. Mine would be Paul Mooney, Eddie Murphy,
okay.
Dave Chappelle, Sinbad, and my bonus would be Godfrey and Trevor Noah. So those,
Ooh.
That's a good one. Because Paul
mhm,
Mooney wrote for Richard Pryor, so I'm glad you
absolutely,
said Paul Mooney.
yeah. Because I was gonna say Pryor, but they both
Paul
were.
Mooney,
You heard one,
yeah,
you
he
heard them
wrote
both.
for
Yeah, and
him.
Paul Mooney was also writing on SNL for a minute, and he did all the stuff on Living Color. He pretty much made the Wayans. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
you're right. That's it. I forgot about Paul. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a
yeah.
good
But Paul Mooney was one of the few people who wasn't afraid to really go there about anything.
one.
I was like,
Him and him and
dang.
uh him and Gregory, Dick Gregory.
Dick Gregory. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I just read his book the other
Yeah,
day, man. That dude, he
yeah,
went from nothing to something in less than a year. Now,
yeah,
that was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, 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 yeah. He got a nephew out of Ohio, Mark Gregory. He's hilarious.
Okay,
Hilarious.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tiki. Give us your Mount Rushmore.
It's a lot of the same. Your Eddie Murphy, first and foremost.
Okay.
Um, can they be dead? Because Red Fox.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I love
I'll be
Red
there.
Fox. I still watch Sanford and Son reruns.
Mm,
Jamie Fox
true, true.
and
Oh,
and Sinbad. I do
Mm,
okay.
like Sinbad. I've been to his shows.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah,
I didn't know that about you. I'm surprised.
Hmm,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
hmm.
All right.
I'm a
Jamie
deep
Okay.
Foxx,
well.
you the first person I ever heard say Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never heard. Yeah.
You know, I
I'm
do
like,
agree. I like Jamie Foxx for two reasons. Number one, he followed Eddie Murphy's footsteps with he wanted to be a singer first, but he used
yeah,
comedy, changed his name from Eric T. Bishop to Jamie Foxx to get stage time down in
yep.
Texas. Then he got on stage and then he started getting funny and then he started putting music with his comedy. So I agree with her on that.
That is
Reluctantly,
true.
I do.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
Oh, all right. Next question. 1 year in jail or you go in jail day one and you can get out as soon as you solve a Rubik's Cube. Which one are you gonna do? He thinking about the Rubik's Cube now. He's spinning in his head. He's like,
I gotta do the Rubik's Cube, but I don't know if I can do it in one day, but I'm gonna try. I'm
no,
gonna
no,
do my best.
here's the thing. You can't get out until you solve it. You may be in 10 years.
Oh, you can't get out till you solve it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm going with. Just give
Ask
me
him if
that
you can
one. Give
watch
me that one
YouTube
year. Give me
videos.
that. No, you know what? I'm a bet on myself, so I'm going Ruby. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure that out within less than 2 days.
Tiki, he coming out of
I'm gonna be
jail
up
with
all day.
he coming out of jail with 10 hours of material after this, because
Yeah, you
man,
ain't joking. I'm betting on myself, so I'm gonna do
can I get some side action on that, please? But okay,
that.
you got a question, Tiki, or you want me to keep going? All right, next question. If you had the world's attention for 5 minutes, what would you talk about?
Growing up in the hood.
Mhm. Okay, fair enough, fair enough. This next question is very important, so you may have to think about this one hard.
Okay.
$1,000 or dinner with Soldier Boy?
The food stamps.
You gotta take the food stamp. You saw that one. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm taking $1,000. I don't. Nah, because I don't know. I'm not a Soldier Boy fan, but
Yeah.
I take $1,000. That's what I
Mm,
take. And go
that's
see
a
somebody else. Go pay that to see somebody else that's really doing what I'm doing.
yeah, yeah. That'd be a tough call, man, because I think I'm gonna take the dinner with him because he's I don't think he's the smartest person in the room, but he got a lot. I think he would just give you money just for the fun of it. Like, hey,
You
here,
know what? That's a good
take that
point.
$1,000.
Take
Yeah,
that.
take this 10,000.
Yeah,
Go tell your friends, Soldier Boy did it. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Because he'll
Yeah.
be like, "Well, you chose me over the 1,000. Oh, I gotta
Yep.
give you 3,000."
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
you
show him.
right.
I'm gonna show him because he's
You
seen that food stamp stuff. He'd be like, "Here, take a Lamborghini
right.
too." I'd be hyping him
Yeah,
up, man. You know you
I
better
know
than
you
Drake.
are right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tell us about the first girl you ever kissed.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's
We
long.
was probably like 6 years old in
Hey,
church at the we was like
wow.
6 years old at the Lelanda Lanier in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, he remember the name.
We was in the back of the church.
Oh,
Ooh, that's been 40 years ago.
at 6
41.
years old. That's why he don't tell them church
Yeah.
jokes. He remember
Yeah,
that.
that's what
What were you doing
yeah.
unsupervised in the back of the church?
Man,
Getting the
we
kiss,
was on the usher
obviously.
board. We was on the usher board.
Okay, then. That's why people could get seated back there. He was about to come kissing
Yeah.
people. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Who's funnier, Kevin Hart or Tiffany Haddish?
Kevin Hart.
Is Kevin Hart really funny though?
He's funny to me. You know
Okay.
why he's funny to me? Because he tells stories. Like
Mm,
Kevin Hart. Have you ever seen him in person?
no, I
Go
wouldn't see
check
him.
him out in person.
I can't.
No, 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 no. I'm telling you, see him in person. Because sometimes in person is totally different than what you see on TV.
Oh no. Oh
Trust me.
no.
Just go check him out.
I
I won't
think
pay no $150 to go see him, but
no, I wouldn't. I think he just want to be Patrice O'Neal because that's who his mentor was, and I think he just
that
reincarnated.
Patrice O'Neal, man, rest his soul. He There wouldn't be a lot of these comedians if Patrice O'Neal. He
I
did
know.
stuff that was
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
he's ahead
very
of time.
offensive.
Yeah,
Like
he was.
Corey
His follow.
Holcomb
Mm-hmm.
following Patrice O'Neal.
Exactly. He sure is. Yep. But Patrice he was more marketable because
Yeah,
he was just smooth with it. He was like he your friend with it, but slap you at the same time.
yeah. He had the voice for it. He had
Yeah.
a non offensive voice, like he had that pitch to his voice, and they
Yeah.
loved it.
Yep. And because he would make you think. He would say it, and he'd be like, "That is true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yep."
Yeah, so
Because I said,
Patrice O'Neal was amazing.
yep. And you can tell a lot about a person by how their family speaks about him. And Von
Yeah,
DiCarlo speaks so highly of him, and he got her. And Von DiCarlo, his
yeah, I
girl he
heard
was
you.
dating. Yeah, he got her in the comedy, and she's pretty funny now. Because I said, wow, that must be you had to be a good dude to do that. Teach
Yeah,
your woman to be funny. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
Okay. This next question is very important too. Which is a better movie, Coolie High or Love Jones? You can only watch
Cooley
one.
high,
Definitely
Cooley
Coolie
high
High.
all day.
Okay. All right. You
I mean, you know what I'm saying? The emotional part of Cooley High, like always wanted to live back in them days, in a sense, you
man.
know. So
Hmm.
Love Jones is good, but there's no comparison.
Yeah.
I
I
would
think.
I rather you said Cooley High and cornbread Earl and Beef.
Oh
Because
man, they killed cornbread.
yeah,
They
you
killed
know
it.
they kill corn. And you know that was Lawrence Fishburne either first or second movie. He was only like 12 in that movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie, man. I made my kids watch that movie, and now they all call me Daddy. They kill cornbread. Say it all the time. Other
Okay,
kids be
what
like,
movie
"What?"
is this? I'm making a list. I'm making a list of what
Let's
movie is this?
Cornbread
I'm
Earl
so
and me.
let me give you some background for sure.
Okay.
Tiki came.
ah,
She came from biracial background, so a lot of these black movies she
Oh,
lost. She
oh,
I was
confused.
raised by what
gotcha.
a white mother and a white stepdad.
Oh,
We trying
and
to
I
catch up
bet
to
you they used to
speed.
say, I bet they used to say you look just like your stepdad. I bet they used to say that.
Yep.
You look just like your dad. Be like, that's not
Everything.
my
Huh?
dad.
Huh?
Like, really? No,
Uh,
okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay. So
that's
put that movie down, Tiki. It's some others on there because
cornbread
I,
Earl
I
and me.
I had to show her love. I mean, I had to show her Cooley High. We had to make sure she saw that one before we went any further. So she up to speed on that
Okay,
now.
yeah, cool.
He said, I can't
Make sure
use
you see
you on
that.
this show if you don't know these movies. So I was going to watch, I was this close to watching Love Jones. It's on Amazon, but I thought, do I want to splurge and spend the $2.99? Because they're trying to make me pay for it to watch it.
No,
I
you
might do
gotta
that.
see that. You gotta see
I
Love
might do.
Jones.
Oh,
I
It's a
might see
you
classic,
Love
never
Jones.
seen Love Jones?
dude.
No.
Oh,
I
oh,
told her people gonna get on that. See how he just like he don't know what to say. Like, oh, that's a new joke for you waiting there.
uh,
Put that in there.
hold on. What's your favorite movie?
Yeah,
Ah,
tell him, Tiki. Tell him the movies
The
you like.
my
Notebook?
favorite
The
movie.
Notebook?
Yep.
No. I like British films, so Pride and Prejudice.
Okay.
Okay, moving along.
Right. Exactly. Okay, let's get on to some other stuff. What do you think about Kevin Samuels?
uh, I like him.
Mm,
I, I would tell you why. See, people don't understand about Kevin Samuels. He used to, if you watch him, he get on men and women.
exactly.
He get on men and women.
We know
But he
that.
used to just counsel men. But all the men would come in with the same report of how women was treating them.
Mm-hmm.
And then he found out. And I'm telling you, since I'm single now, I'm a big Kevin Samuel fan because I'm like, that stuff he talking about is true.
Man.
It's so true. I'm
Yep.
like, I don't, like I said, that's why I call comedy a she, because that's my girl. She does me right. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big Kevin Samuel. I think they had him uh, put away.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna say, they had him put away. Put it like
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. We know what's up on there. We can talk off air about that. But
Yeah,
yeah, I definitely because he was telling too much. He's actually changing the culture now because a lot of people are looking at his old stuff and coming back. It's like, man, this dude was right. He wasn't women bashing. He was actually telling women, hey, reality is you can't be 300 pounds talking about I want a high value man. And I got, well, I don't want
I know
I
you.
understand.
I know
I
you.
understand what the brother was saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
Yes. Next question. Was slavery a choice?
You said what?
Was slavery a choice?
It was a business.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't think. I mean, it was a business. Like
Mm-hmm.
I visited Puerto Rico, and when I visited Puerto Rico, I learned a lot about the slavery. Like I don't think it was a choice, but that's a great question. So when I went to Puerto Rico, when they came over, the first slaves, according to the Puerto Rican uh, history, was the Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And then they found out the Indians could not endure the sun. So
Mm.
of course the African comes in and we get our strength from the sun. It's vitamin D for us.
Mm-hmm.
So we can work longer, work stronger, but also we was already here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was more of a business.
Well, I asked that question because Kanye was criticized for saying that, and I think
Yeah.
referring to black people, I personally agree with him on it. I don't think he's crazy because I don't know too many black men that I know that made $6 billion. I know they made a movie
Nah,
about one
not too
back in the
many.
day, but
Right.
I think for him to say that, it's like I really thought about that because I said if I had the opportunity for me to be a slave back in the days, they would have to kill me because I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So I think that's what he
Yeah,
said was a choice. It was like, am I gonna let my kids be slaves? Am I gonna let my wife get raped in front of my face? Or because
yeah,
what happens if everybody stop? Say, we ain't doing it today. We ain't doing slave no more. We're done. What are they gonna do?
right. Yeah,
So
because it was way more of us than them.
yeah, and that's what they're worried about. So yeah, but we can do a whole nother show on that. Next
Yeah,
question.
yeah, but I would like to say it's business.
That is
But
definitely
yeah,
business.
yeah, it's
Yep.
definitely business.
Uh, Malcolm X or Martin Luther King? Which one? Get 5 minutes to talk to him.
I want to talk to the Martin Luther King before he was assassinated
Mm,
because
but
it's two different Martin Luther Kings.
absolutely, yeah. You said
So I want to talk to the Martin Luther King when he was going to Washington D.C. to get the promise of the 40 acres and the mill. That's the
yeah,
one I want to talk to.
right. Well, that was
So
dang near talking to Malcolm X, wasn't it?
right, so
He,
he started changing. So
right. Yep.
I just think Martin said a little bit different. He said a little bit
Mhm.
more eloquent.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate Malcolm's approach though, because Malcolm was a very deep thinker. He could look you in the eye and tear you down and make you feel good about yourself at the same time. He could do it to black and white people. I was so amazed by that. And but Martin Luther King, you're right. He started to change at the end, and you scared me for a minute because you said I would talk to him right before he died. I thought you were like right before he got shot. Like what you gonna say?
No,
Look out or
no, no,
duck. Don't go out on the roof. I didn't know what you're gonna say to
no, 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 no. Just the one where he said, "I'm going to Washington to get that money."
him. Yeah,
That one.
yep, they had to kill him in. Yeah. So okay.
Yeah.
What celebrity do you find attractive? What female celebrity would you say, I would date her?
Oh, my new one is
Your new one.
yeah, Coco Bean from that Bel Air.
Okay.
Bel Air is a singer too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That one right there. And
Okay.
that's probably my new one. Like if I meet her, it's over. But she's
Right.
young though, so she's too young for me. So
Yeah.
and she got a mama that look like no. Also, so the Bel Air mama, she's kind of cute too.
hmm
And so that
Yeah.
one that
Yeah.
would
But
work.
don't they like them young so you can mold them and train them and bring them up how you want?
Uh, no, they talk
Some
with
of
their
them.
hands too much. These young ones do all that talking with their hands. I
All in
need
your
a
face.
season. I need a season one. I need something. She got to like something. She got to know how to do something
Right.
on her
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got to know what she want to eat at.
Right. Oh my God. I can't
You
tell
got
me
to
the
know if
arguments I
I
had
ask her
over
what
that
to
one.
eat. Yeah,
Man.
if I
Yeah.
ask you what you want to eat, you know where you want to eat at.
hmm
So yeah, that. Yeah,
Well, what Chris Rock said, the younger girls just want a pair of shoes, but the older women, they want houses and stuff. So it's a
yeah.
tough call.
They want you to fix their roof and everything.
Yeah, you
But I
can't do
could do
all
that. I could do that. But there's peace there.
that.
There's peace there.
Yeah, that's
I just
true.
want peace. I just
Yeah.
want peace.
But my last question in this round of the show is this. I know that you were, before you got into the comedy game, word on the curb was used to sell them cars, and they said you was good at it. How much money you think you walked away from or left on the table in the car game before you started doing this? Okay, Michelle, I got another question for you here. Now, word on the curb is that you had a high paying job in the auto industry. Because, matter of fact, three people I know bought a car from you. They stopped running the next day, but they did buy them from you. So, why did you leave the car game and were you good in it?
I was one of the best. I used to do commercials. They called me the Don. I had my own sign said the Don has done it again. A lot of stuff that you see now, I was before my time as far as you see commercials and people doing stuff like salesmen. I was the one pretty much start all that. Like I would just people purchase the vehicle, and then I would do my own commercial. The Don has done it again, and they would give their testimony of what they had done. And so I feel like I was one of the best, if not the best, because I used my sense of humor. I could sell 20 cars with no problem from all walks of life, whether you got a 400 credit score or if you got an 850 credit score. It didn't matter because
Mm.
I never sold cars. I sold myself.
Mm.
So when you sell yourself, and I'm a great person,
Mhm.
so that was easy work.
So how much money could a person with your skill set make in the car game?
A little bit over 200,000 a year.
Mm, mm, mm,
Woo-hoo.
I'm
Yeah,
going down to Tom Wood
I,
tonight.
I left $250,000 on the table last year.
Mm, mm, mm. Man,
Yeah.
man, that-
And follow my so it's because of my faith in God. My God told me like it's time for you to pursue your passion and just trust me. So my faith and my belief in God and belief in what He was telling me, it was very scary, very very scary. Like even to
Mhm.
this day, I can't believe because I grew up in poverty.
Yeah.
So I mean, I come from generations of poverty. So it still mind boggles to me at times where I'll be like, wow, I really jump scared. That's what I have a series called Jump Scared. So that's what I did.
Mm.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
What was that? There was a quote from the Homie Don't Play That book. I put notes on there where he said, if I know there's a net, I won't jump. Or
Right.
yeah, but if I know I'm gonna hit the concrete or something like that, I gotta keep standing. I totally messed it up, but you get the
Yeah.
point.
that's
Basically what
Yeah.
you just said. Basically
I'm
what you just
surprised you
said.
said, homie, don't. I'm surprised you like read that book because
That was one of my
you know
favorite shows.
I'm just saying
And
because
Living
you ain't
Color
never
was my
seen Love
favorite.
Jones. Yeah, yeah, I'm shocked on that one. Like you were like really. Okay, I'm learning a little bit more, but I'm like, wow, like no,
Thinking you lost all your
like,
street
like
tricks, all your street cred is
yeah,
It's
gone.
because you keep putting me on
yeah.
blast. You keep
Okay.
Yeah,
putting me
I'm
on
just
blast.
saying. You said homie don't like that. I was like, ooh, she knows some stuff. She don't know
Homie, don't
Love Jones,
play
but
that. I didn't.
yeah.
uh,
So yeah, I had to jump. I jumped.
yeah. Tiki asking about the movie name. You said you're gonna clarify what again?
The movie?
The one you asked about the
Oh
cornbread.
yes,
Oh,
cornbread, and what?
Earl and
she
me.
said it was called cornbread and collard greens. So I want to make sure
What
you
is
heard
it?
that.
You
Cornbread.
you told me it
I
was
want her to look
cornbread and
that
collard
movie
greens.
up. It is. Look at it.
What
It's
is it?
cornbread and collard greens. Look it up. You can do it later.
Okay.
Cornbread and
I
collard greens.
She gonna be
okay, we're
looking it
going
up for a
off that
while.
now. Y'all made me the punchline. We're going off that. So I want to ask you, do anybody tell you you look like a certain comedian, or you've been told you look like somebody that's
Yeah,
famous?
today was funny. Someone said I look like Two Chains today. I don't know
Okay.
about that. Two Chains, but I get a lot of people because of my voice and because of my size stature. I get Busta Rhymes a lot.
Mm.
I get Busta Rhymes. When I was younger, I used to get Chris Thomas from Rap City or whatever,
Mhm.
the mayor. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
between Busta Rhymes now, Two Chains is on the list, I guess.
You know she don't know
Hmm.
none of them, right? You know
No,
you
she
just
don't.
talking to me at this
Yeah,
point. You know
I'm
that.
gonna
yeah,
go. I am going to Google right after.
yeah. You know who Denzel Washington is, right?
Next question. You come. When are you coming to Columbus?
Well, we got
When you want to bring me to Columbus,
mm, good one, good one. Let's
because I
say
used to.
I would
Because
definitely. I'll be in the front row. I will be in the front row.
well, I know you got. I know you. So I performed at the Funny Bone plenty of times. Right there, I
Oh,
performed there. I know a lot of
okay.
comedians. I know a lot of comedians in Columbus. I'm working. Matter of fact, I did a church 2021. It was an AME church. But I'm trying to get to Columbus. I'm looking at Cleveland. I was in Cleveland last year.
mhm.
But
Mm.
I mean, I need you to help me. I do white churches too. I do your mother's churches. You know, I do your mother's crowd
Okay.
and your stepdaddy's crowd.
See that he's a comedian for all people. See that?
Yeah. Now, I
Yeah.
don't know your daddy, but if you have your daddy
Baptist. He
involved,
was Baptist. He was a deacon in the Baptist church. He gave
Mhm.
up
oh, he
on me. He
was.
said, "I can't do nothing with this one."
Yeah. Oh, Baptist. Yeah. So now I need to come to Columbus.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Please let
I know a
me
lot of
know
comedians.
when you do. I want to come see your show. Let me know when you do, please.
Okay,
Let us know.
I put it out just like I put about coming on the
Oh, okay.
podcast. I'll put it out there. Hey, I need to come to Columbus,
Yep.
and I'll
Yeah.
Yep.
probably get some info.
And they're gonna get you. They're definitely we're
There you
gonna
go.
hype that up.
Yeah, I'm about to. As soon as I get off the phone, get off the podcast, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, Columbus, I need to be in y'all city."
Right.
And,
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. I'm gonna put it on
and
mine too.
I'll have them roll out the red carpet for you. I promise.
all right, that's
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. And
Just don't give me no Ohio State stuff.
Nothing.
No Buckeye stuff.
yeah.
I don't even know what's in Columbus other
Nothing.
than Ohio.
Nothing.
No, you got the Super Chef. Is that still there? Super Chef. Oh, you still don't know. I don't know.
You don't know that either? I never heard of it.
What?
Super Chef.
No.
He's an African American like chef that bees on all them shows. He's out of Louisville, but he got one in Columbus where he make your waffles. If you like Incredible Hulk, he make the Incredible Hulk waffles, but they be green. Oh, it's good food, real good food.
Mm.
I
It's right
know
downtown.
nothing about
It's
that.
called Super Chef. It's good food, but it's
Okay.
all based off of the comic world, like the Marvel comics and stuff like that.
Mm. I think I have heard of some of
Super
that.
Chef. It's good.
Okay.
It's good food. Great food. Great atmosphere.
Yeah. Okay. My last question in this round is uh I know you said you were single here. I want to know what happened with your last relationship. Did comedy ruin that for you? Being in a relationship, being on the road or something?
Yeah, part of that. Like sometimes it's hard when you're in a relationship or even marriage when you pursue your passion like you do. Like
Mm-hmm.
I put it like this. I'm a person where I'm a go getter. Like if it comes to mind, I'm gonna work on it doing it. And I think I just lost her in the process. I could have been
Okay.
better. I could have been a better friend. But
Mm.
you know, that's what happened. It's like now I'm it's I have talked to women, but it's just difficult because comedy is number one in my life right now. My
Mm-hmm.
children are grown. Like I got grown children. I got a grandchild, so my children are
Mm,
grown. So it's just me.
So
So
mm.
I can eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
right. You're not willing to change for the woman though. If you meet that right one, would you change, or are you happy being who you are?
I'm happy who I am. She would just have to go with the flow,
Mm-hmm.
but knowing that she will benefit from the flow.
Mm.
She will
Facts.
benefit from the flow. Because I'm
Got
gonna
you.
be a multimillionaire. I'm going to be on major stages, and I'm loyal. So I know if you with me, you're gonna reap every benefit that you can, and people
Mm.
gonna know that you my woman. It
That's
won't be
right.
no, I'm too old for that, man. I'm
Okay.
too old.
And you fix roofs?
You said what?
That's a catch. I said, and
You
you
said,
fix roofs?
yeah, yeah,
And you fix
I do
roofs?
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could
Yeah.
pay somebody. I could pay somebody to fix them, but that'll work.
There you go.
Yeah,
All
I
He
right.
could
said
pay
you
somebody to
fix
fix them.
roofs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, and you said do you don't you're a clean comic. You don't drink or smoke or anything either. Are you doing that or where you at
I
on that?
do. I'm a social drinker. I
Okay.
drink I drink. I smoke a cigar, but
Mm-hmm.
other than that, I don't really do too much of anything. I'm like a lot of comedians, they be under the influence when they're on stage,
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of them think that you have to be funny because that's a nervous tick of theirs.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
now, but I occasional drinker, you know, most time at home.
Mm-hmm.
I drink an old fashioned,
Okay.
and smoke a cigar.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. That's a good point you made about a lot of artists having to be under influence because back when Run DMC used to perform, uh, DMC would not go on stage without drinking several different cocktails. So
Mm.
most people don't know that. I
They
guess.
be drunk.
Mm.
Yeah. They
They
gave
be
some good
drunk.
shows.
A lot of them comedians, man, when they on stage, they drunk.
Hmm.
Wow.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true. So there you
because
go.
they feel like that's only how they can be funny.
Yep. You're right.
Mm.
Well, Donald, Michelle Martin, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure to have spent time with you today on the What's Up
Yes,
Aboard
sir.
podcast and hearing your story. But we want to know how can listeners find you and support you in the social media world?
So social media world is my IG, Instagram is for show. F is in Frank, O is in Oscar, S is in Sam, H is in Henry, O is in Oscar, 413. And then you can follow me, Donald Martin, on Facebook. You can follow me because my friend list is full. Unless I got, if this one girl talk about her baby daddy one more time, I will unfriend her. She got one more time.
Dang. Okay. All
But
right.
that, and then TikTok is for show 413.
Okay. All right. And
That's what it is.
what's next for you? Are you touring anything? Or are you just sitting around? We know you're trying to go to Columbus, but anywhere else you're going?
Yeah. So I got a tour called It Doesn't Hurt to Laugh tour. I got two brothers, two of my good friends, hilarious guys uh, from Detroit, Michigan. We're working on a tour. We got Cleveland, we got Indianapolis, we got Anderson, we got Louisville. We're working on Dallas, Plano, Detroit, Flint. We're working on some places, and then me personally, like this month, I think I got like 6 shows this month so far.
Hmm.
So, that's what I do.
Okay,
That's what I
sound
do.
good. So now once Tiki watches cornbread and collard greens, do you think she can be an opening act for you?
She could, because she got a lot to talk about that looks like her stepdaddy. She got a lot to talk about.
A lot of
She
therapy.
looking like her stepdaddy. That's funny. So she can't open up. Just that joke alone will make people laugh at least 3 minutes.
You gotta give me a cut then. You gotta give me a cut of that night's show. I'm making your
you bring
show.
me to Columbus. You bring me to Columbus. I got you cut.
There you
All
go.
right.
There you go. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to say the show before I give my final thoughts? Anything you want to clear up? Anything you want to add?
No, just basically appreciate the opportunity, like I said before, and just continue to watch as we grow as a comedian, as a activist, as a public speaker. Just be on the lookout for Donald for Show Martin, because you'll know when you heard him here, you'll be like, yeah, I checked him out in 2023, and just keep praying and just keep following us.
Yes, sir. All
It's
right.
our privilege for show.
For sure, you said that right.
For sure.
You said that in your you said that in your daddy's voice, the Baptist preacher.
Right.
You
Yeah.
said that in your stepdaddy or your
Yeah.
mama's voice.
She
It
got it
creeps
now.
out every now and then. It creeps
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, she was gonna say for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right away. Right.
Positively.
Yeah. Kicking her foot up and stuff. All right.
Radio.
Let me say my final thoughts. But I do want to say this first. I learned so much about him. We learned about the comedians. We learned about his Mount Rushmore. We learned about him kissing girls at age 6 in the church. That's why he wanted to tell church jokes. Growing up in Flint, Michigan, drinking that water and still surviving. And now he looks like 2 Chainz. So we learned a lot about this man. So let me give him his final thoughts. My final thoughts is quite simple this time. I'm not going to get deep and give you a long paragraph. I'm just going to quote the great Tupac when he said, "Don't feed every dog you see suffering. Sometimes it just needs enough strength to bite you." I want y'all to marinate on that because that means different things to different people. I know y'all, I know for sure know what that means. So y'all marinate on that. Remember, everybody has a story to tell. We just want to know what's yours. So till next time, keep streaming What's Up Award, the podcast, wherever you get your content. Until next time, peace.
Peace.